Hello and thank you for watching my footage of the Peacemaker National 2-gun match held on April 17th. The star of this footage is my AKM style Zastava Zpap featuring stock iron sights, a K&S adjustable piston, and a BD2 muzzle brake. This match doesn't go particularly well for me, but it was fun and definitely provided some interesting insight for the future.
Are you ready?
My first stage of the day started with a couple paper rifle targets. As you can see on my third shot, the Zpap short-stroked and failed to fully eject the spent casing. I attempted to clear by just racking the bolt, but the rifle didn't feed quite right, so I performed a AKM malfunction drill of drop the mag, rack the bolt, insert the mag, rack the bolt, and then back into action. After that bumpy start, my memory of the target placement faded away, so I have a couple missteps in how fast I can run without missing any engagements. There's one more hiding away, but at the conclusion of the rifle section, I was to clear the rifle by dropping the mag, running the bolt to show empty, which is where the next malfunction happened. The cameraman missed it, but somehow I got the last round into the action and jammed the bolt halfway back. This was about a month ago, so I forget exactly where the round went, but I believe the round was caught below the bolt and on top of the hammer. It was very tricky to try and fix while on the clock, but after the stage was over, I was able to easily fix it by removing the dust cover and taking the BCG off. While I had the BCG off, I was also able to close the adjustable gas piston by 5 clicks, which remedied all the short stroking issues for the rest of the day. To talk briefly on the pistol portion, I didn't practice my dry firing half as much as I did for the previous match. I just came out of it pretty confident, so led to non-practicing, and my trigger control was all over the place. Should have slowed it down, just got it right. As is my curse in going to matches and attempting to make videos, I forgot to have stage 4 recorded. This stage allowed the shooter to start with rifle or pistol while engaging targets from the shooting box. One of the challenges of the stage was in order to engage all targets, the shooter would at some point be required to retreat back into the box. I started with rifle as I thought it'd be easier to retreat with my pistol, and the stage went fairly well overall.
Are you ready? Ready. Stand by.
Stage 5 starts off, and for those two closer targets here, I should have walked and shot at the same time just to increase my efficiency. For these targets behind the hostages, I did end up becoming one with the AK meme, and I missed a shot and hit a no-shoot. These papers end up going pretty smooth with the rifle. Then there I had to rack my pistol because I forgot to at the start of the stage. The RO did call a hit on that target, so I skipped it and went on to the falling target that activated the limit exposure paper.
Bye.
Stage 6 starts off with a solid amount of pistol targets, which all go fairly well for me. Following the pistol section were 5 long-range rifle targets, which included a popper at 130 and 165 yards, a 12-inch plate at 140, then 275 yards, and lastly a full-size IPSC at 460 yards.
Right.
For the first 3 targets, I kept my zero slider at 100 meters, then I slid it up to 300 meters for target 4, and then up to 500 meters for target 5. The thought being for target 4 and 5, I would aim just below where the targets actually were.
Right. Left. High. Dead.
The cameraman does end up losing focus on the picture, so I'll tangent for a minute. The longer range portion of this match showed me a few interesting things about the rifle. The first being that unlike an AR with a hand stop or foregrip, you can't push the rifle into cover, and the curved mag tends to bump up against the cover at some odd angles. The next thing I noticed is just how well calibrated the AK leaf sight is with the adjustable distances. Definitely makes it easier in guessing your elevation. The downside, however, is that getting a proper picture is much more difficult with a notch than it is with an aperture, which forces you into a natural alignment. And then the last thing, which was shown to me throughout the stages of this match, is the absolute utility of optics in assisting in taking accurate and semi-thoughtless shots. Thought it wouldn't be too tough with irons, but there's a whole lot more practice involved. And on to 500. Or 460.
This for all the ruples.
For the people. Right!
I do end up parring out of the stage after a few shots at the 460-yard target, but for an iron-sighted rifle, I did think it went fairly well, and the RRO said I was only inches from that final hit.
Left. Just barely right. Hold again. High. Far right. Beyond the target stand. Far right. Hurry up. Stop. Hard. Yes. Are you ready?
Stage 1 starts off with
Ready.
some
Bye.
pistol targets. And again, I don't do so great on them. I definitely need some more practice in between my matches with dry firing and just more range time. There, that's not a mag issue or gun issue, that is just I forgot to refill my mags between the stages. The next little rifle portion was pretty fun. Very close range targets, but I should have moved quicker and shot while walking. For most of these shots, I was more or less just looking over the top. I was able to see my hits and determine if another shot was needed. I did notice my rounds were going a bit high. So then I realized my range was still set at 500 meters and I slid it back to 100. Doing that action threw me off, and rather than going to my predetermined location where I could see all three targets, I stopped to engage the first two, and then I had to hunt for that last one hiding behind a tree.
Are you ready? Aye.
Stage 2 again starts with the pistol, and now that I've gotten pretty warmed up for the day, I start doing a bit better. Slight issue with the rifle. The issue is I didn't take it off safe before charging it. Then here, I forgot to reload my mags again between stages, and I'm forced into another reload. Should have noticed that before I got down on the log. Here it's to engage 3 poppers at 100, 110, and 125 yards. The second one was most difficult for me because I could barely see it. It was the end of the day, so most of the paint was gone, and I ended up spending most of the time engaging a small log right next to it. Overall, I didn't do too great, but I had a lot of fun and I definitely learned a lot through the experience. I believe if I can work through the hiccups, I should be able to climb a couple spots in the division, and mounting a red dot on my Zpap should get me up another. Thanks again for watching, and let this show the importance of really getting out there to test your gear.